Hi everyone, this is Vijay. So this is the series of generative AI where I'm going to cover the various topics such as network configuration using the generative AI, network troubleshooting using the generative AI, and network automation using the generative AI. So today's topic is to start with the network configuration with the generative AI. So what we are going to achieve here is so we have this topology. Suppose, for example, this is your production lab, right, where you have certain sites with the OSPF configuration, with the BGP configuration, you have internet, we have various routers, switches, all these things. So in this lab, we are going to utilize the generative AI where the Google Gemini tool. There are various type of generative AI tools are available, such as ChatGPTs and other tools which you can utilize for the configuration. For this lab particular, we are going to use the Gemini tool to create the iOS configuration file for the four of the router displayed in the topology. Okay, and in the router we have R1, R2, R3, R4, and each router will contain the is already having the configuration. So the main purpose of this lab to uh, to show that uh, how the configuration can be generated using topology itself, using the various criteria, uh, using the generative AI. So you do not need to remember all those commands. You do not need to worry about anything. The protocol interface configuration, BGP configuration syntax, because suppose, for example, you have a requirement of a certain configuration and you do not know how to do the command, you do not remember the command. So it's no need to worry about nowadays. You can use the generative AI to get all the required configuration, and you can push the configuration directly from uh, those generative AI tools. Okay. So requirement is if I open the lab, I have this lab. So in if I open this lab, if I click on the R1, sorry, if you see that here in the R1, if I see the show IP interface brief, okay, this is the configuration. I already have the configuration in my, just give me a second. See that this is the configuration which I have. If I see the show running configuration, and I have loopback address configuration, I have interface configuration, IP addressing, everything is configuration. And I do have some of the access lists which we can ignore it, but I do not have any kind of OSP of any sort of configuration over here. So what I will do here is I have some configuration. I will say that config replace um, yeah, replace. I'm going to have I have already configuration from flash, and what I will do here is I will say that more flash flash final configuration configs. There is no file as such. What I will do here is I will do one thing. I will say that config replace, not if this is not config replace flash final configs. You will see that I'm going to say that yes, I do have the configuration, but as of now, I think the problem is, let me first bring the configuration and do the configuration push. Just give me a second. Okay, so I already have saved the configuration for the router. If I go to these routers and open the console of this router, so let me show that I already have saved the configuration in the my startup file. Okay, so if I open this R3, if I say that show me the directory, and I have a final configuration here. So what I will do here is I will replace the current configuration with the final configuration. The command is this one, config replace flash, then final configurations. Then I will say that yes, I want to replace the configuration. Okay, so if I say that now, I should have all the configuration, especially the OSPF configuration and other configuration. Yeah, so if you see that OSPF configuration, I have done that here. And yeah, if I go to the this router 2, in the router 2, I should have the BGP configuration over here. So if I say that, show me the directory, and I want to replace the configuration with the my startup configuration, which I have saved in my directory. So then same thing, I will go and do the same thing for the router 4 also. All right. So I will say the show me the directory and replace this configuration with the final config, capital S. Then, so if I see that show IP OSPF neighbor, I should be see that OSPF neighborship coming up, right? So IP BGP summary. If you see the BGP is also forming over here. So if you see that here, this is the configuration I have done so far manually. Suppose I do not have any idea what configuration need to be done and how configuration should be working. If you see the BGP configuration, I'm using that. OSPF, I'm using that. So same configuration, if you want to create using the your topology and use and the from the generative AI, how are we going to do that? It's a pretty much simple. So what I have done here is I have this topology. Okay, I have identify that loopback address, OSPF, which link interface will have what IP address, which interface will be used on the R1, R2, R3, R4. And I have described over here, if you see that, I've said the notepad, create the 4 router configuration file for iOS router R1, R2, R3, R4, display in the uploaded topology. I will upload this topology and they use the following. IP address have already configured on the all the router interfaces have been enabled. So I have already defined it over here. No routing protocol are configured on this router. You must generate the entire OSPF configuration to as shown in the diagram. So generative AI will read the topology and it will generate the OSPF configuration. OSPF loopback interface should be replaced within the respective OSPF area. No OSPF adjacency should be formed between R1 to R4. Okay, the subnet connecting to R1, R2 should be advertised into the local OSPF area. Okay, so if you see that here, which a topology I have over here. This is the same exact configuration. We are advertising from R4. If I go to the R2, so IP OSPF neighbor, one over neighborship is forming with the R3. If I say so, run over here, this is the configuration. Passive interface, these are the interfaces we are going to use. We are going to have default originated for default route. Okay. Same thing, I want to get the configuration from the my generative AI. I'm in the BGP. It's saying that R2 and R4 should be inject the default route OSPF in the neighbor. So this is the default route I want to inject. I'm also saying that in include BGP in your configuration file such that R2 and R4 form the BGP eBGP neighborship using the loopback address. Okay, R2 R4 must use a static route to other interface to reach each other. Okay, also R2 must advertise to the R4 all IPv4 existing to the OSPF 0. R4 should be advertised to the OS R2 R2 IPv4 subnet that exists the IP using the IP OSPF 1. Same thing here. So this route, I'm selling that R4 from the OSPF neighbor BGP neighborship, advertise area 1 address to the R2. Same thing here, I'm saying the R2, advertise OSPF 0 area configuration into the R4, which is the R2 is already doing that. R2 is doing already doing it here, saying that redistributing the OSPF 1. Okay, and this is the uh, some of the configuration which is trying to redistribute it to the neighbor. Okay, And if you see that this is the network command where I'm redistributing 12 dot subnet, 2 dot subnet, loopback address, 24 dot subnet, local subnet, we are redistributing. If I go to the R4, R4 is also forming the neighborship with the R2 using the loopback address, EBGP, and it is also redistributing the 4 dot subnet, 2434, which is the area 1 subnet. Now, if I go to the Google and if I say that I want to open the, I want to configure the uh, configurations, I will say that the HTTPS Geminis dot google dot com. You can log in your using the local username password. Okay, so you can create your username password. It does not require any extra things to do that over here. Then what I will do here is I will snip my page and I will just copy paste my topology over here. Okay, I will say that take this topology. Okay, and I will say that give me this following this one, give me a configuration. Look here. Now, the the generative AI will read the entire topology and it will give the entire configuration. Look here. It's saying that R1 OSPF configuration, okay, R2 configuration, BGP configuration. Look here, right? R3 configuration, R4 configuration, R4 and R2 has a BGP and OSPF, right? You just simply have to copy paste it. And it is giving also saying that IP OSPF interval 0 command will disable OSPF messaging, all these things. It will giving the even the all the commands. If I go to the R2, for example, R2, if I go in R2, this should be the configuration I should be having it, right? So if I go to the R2 here, here, if I check the configuration, what configuration has been generated here. So if you see that here, BGP is forming. Also, it is forming the neighborship in the R4, 4.4.4. It is network, it is advertising 12.12 subnet, 20 dot, and it is all the subnet which is advertised over here, it is advertising. Okay. And in the OSPF, it is forming the OSPF also. If you see that hello interval, it is disabled over here. And it is on R3, it is forming the, and if you see that static route is also been configured over here on the R2. Okay, for the 3.30.30.30, which is representing my the configuration which I have given over here. Okay, saying that inject all the details. Now, same configuration, if you see that here, if I see that give write OSPF and BGP verification commands, it will write the OSPF and BGP verification command as well for you. And you just simply, you don't have to do anything. You just simply just copy from here and paste it in the routing table in the router. If you see the copy, paste it, swipe it out. It will give the all the BGP, OSPF, or static, all the routes over here. It is pretty straightforward. You can do it for the Nexus, you can do it for ASR and ISR, any routers you can do it. If I type here, right, OSPF and BGP for the Nexus devices using same topology. Look here. Using the same topology, it's going to write the OSPF configuration. Look here. It even writing the BGP also. Look here. So it's pretty much straightforward. So it is these AIs are not yet pure mature, but they are in the process of getting mature. So it's going to be the more mature in future. So you will just have to upload the. You do not have to give the instruction. You have to upload the topology, and the topology you have to give the instruction. They will automatically do the all sort of configuration for you. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show, that this is not the solution in the lab. This is to simplify that how to what's the capability of generative AI as per the but you know uh, a portion of the network, how it can be utilized for day-to-day operation for you to achieve this. Thanks for watching. The next I'm going to show here is I'm going to show that how to do that troubleshooting using the generative AI. Okay. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in next session.